back to another episode of the Roundtable Battlefield. Today's battlefield topic, as you can tell, bit of a hockey theme going on. We've even got the newbie. He is our senior master debater in charge of all things Leafs, as you can tell. He came all the way from Toronto just to be on this show. That's how much reach we have. Colin, can you believe that?
Yeah, we didn't lie at all. There's no lies. We only tell truths here.
Exactly. It's hockey is about truth.
I'm about to lie a whole bunch if we're talking about the Leafs.
The Leafs need all the lies they can get.
Pretty much. It's what keeps me warm at night. This is the year, boys. Let me tell you.
All right. Well, today's show, we're going to try and divide it into periods. We're going to have different topics for each period. And so once the timer's done, we move on to the next topic. We've got a lot to talk about. There's playoff hopes. There's the state of the NHL. There's the Four Nations face-off. There's there's a lot of Bettman material that we'd like to get through today. So we're a bit under time. So I'm thinking the first period we should just talk about where our teams are respectively in the league, how they're performing, what their outlook
First
is.
First place.
Yeah, I know.
Divisionally.
That's why there's so many smiles.
I know. It's rare.
This is the one year that Winnipeg and Toronto might actually do something in the playoffs. And every year we say the same thing. But this year is different, right?
Well, it's obviously different on the Leafs end. But the Jets, you guys are struggling with some of the same issues. Maybe not the history, the length of misery that we've had.
But, the drought, yeah. But we have a never drought, so...
Yeah,
it's almost worse.
You got the choke syndrome going on as well. Once playoffs rolls around, and I say that as the master choker, as a Leaf. So I'm not chirping.
Senior
master choker. But I'm right there with you boys in the slums. So yeah, let's do it. This is the year though.
Yeah, and the Leafs are. I almost said something else there. But the Leafs are performing very well. I watched their game. Was it last night?
Last night.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, and I didn't think
awesome.
I didn't think they were going to pull it off. I thought Tampa was coming back.
Yeah, that's their MO against us. Yeah, and the Leafs typically blow it, and we come out hot a lot. We were up 2-0 in the first 4 minutes. Could have been 3 or 4. And then it
you went to sleep for a bit.
Slowly dwindled away as the script usually calls for. And then, we pulled it out in the third. Well, we were up 3-2 in the third, too, and they tied it up again, as they always do. But Nicey with the hat trick.
He dug deep.
In OT.
It was a very exciting game.
Stunning win. Right. Theoretically, pretty much locked up the Atlantic Division for us. We'd have to just tank and have Tampa run the table. So that's great, obviously, because second and third in our division right now. Well, kind of similar to you guys, right? You don't want a Stars Avalanche first-round matchup. I mean, that's just a nightmare. Of course, you're trending for the Blues right now. I'm sure we'll get into that. So that's its own little nightmare for different reasons. But
you lead me right into my next question. Who are the Leafs looking at facing in the playoffs, and what are their
right now
what's their record against?
It's about an 83% chance to win the Atlantic. We got a tank, and Tampa's got to run the table. Florida can't catch us, so that's that. So right now, it should finish. We're actually going to end up playing the Senators, which
be amazing.
Oh wow, I have a lot to say. Being the senior, I have many years as a career of a Leaf fan, and back in the glory days, not glory days, but the Ottawa-Toronto series, and I was living in Ontario then. I'm from downtown Toronto. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but that was some good hockey. I think it was 4 years in a row, or 4 out of 5. And that was back when the Sens were, they were rocking with Alfredson, Spezza, Heatley. I mean, they were a spectacular team. They went to the Cup Finals one of those years, and that was the 1 year that they did not face the Leafs. I think 3 out of 4 years we were in 8th in the conference. They were first, and that was back when one played 8, nice and easy. Yeah. And we were 4-0 against them. And it was a nightmare for the Senators, and I'm sure they're not pleased to be playing us. Having said that, look, they're happy to be at the dance, first of all, but they're making a wild card. They're going to play one of the top 2 divisional leaders, so fair enough. They're always going to be in tough. But this year we're actually 0-3 against the Sens. So it's like I don't know about you guys, but I assume, when you play Edmonton or Calgary, does it really matter where the standings are? Does the emotion and the heart and the enthusiasm not make every game kind of a toss-up? Because that's what it's like with the Leafs versus the Habs or the Sens. Doesn't matter who's where in the standings. It's going to be hard fought, and anyone can come out out and win that game, regardless of skill level, points, standings, etc. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking for us. A, there's a Kachuk brother on the ice, so that's just never good. B, we're so paranoid of losing, right? Because all we do is poop the bed when we should win. So there's that hanging over us like a perennial dark cloud. And then you factor that obviously we're much more skilled. We got, 15 more points than this year, but it's Ottawa, Toronto. It just doesn't matter. Their arena is our arena is their arena. It's a toss-up.
You can have 2 games a day. The travel distance is so short.
So, we should sweep them. We're not going to sweep them. It's going to go 6 or 7, almost guaranteed. And you never know which Leafs team is going to show up in the playoffs or every game to game.
If I could get now, obviously I'm not a Leafs fan. I've had a bit of a vendetta against the Leafs.
Idea.
A little
But
confusing.
The one thing I will give you guys to your credit, Boston is not in the playoffs. Far from it. This is one of the first times they've been last in about 4,000 years.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that works in your favor, you're not having to play Boston.
Yeah, and that is spectacular as long as we're not playing Boston or Florida. And obviously we got to go through one of the 2 teams in Florida. I get that, but at least not the first round. So winning the division is critical for us. Just like I imagine you guys, you got to go through Dallas or Rado one way or another. But it'd be nice if it wasn't in the first round, just to keep some guys having jobs and keep the fans from revolting.
And to have home ice advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge for us.
Doesn't matter much for Leafs, frankly. We tend to this year been playing our best hockey on the road. I feel, but it doesn't matter again against a provincial rival like that. And while it was 20, 25 years ago, if I'm Ottawa, I'm saying anyone but Toronto based on history, just like Leafs versus Boston. On paper, we'd love to play Boston this year. No, I wouldn't play last place Boston in the playoffs. Just no.
Well, if the Leafs are like the Jets, we play worse against lower-ranked teams.
Yeah, and
that is 100% true.
Part of it going against the Sens and the wild card. Like, all right, we tend to play down to their level, and then they're going to be just so happy to be there. Kachuk's going to be cannonballing all over the ice. We're not a heavy team, heavier this year, and been much tougher. Most fights in years, but still, we're a skill team. Period. And that has to shine through, and that doesn't shine when you're just getting pumped into the boards and every foot is fought for. We played Florida the night before Tampa, and they just clogged up everything, and it was just painful. I mean, our skill guys they're not McKinnon or McDavid's skill, or at least with that kind of speed. So really difficult to create separation with the D. Really good with their sticks. It's gonna be tough, but it's always tough. Hardest trophy to win, and you got to go through them all somewhere, some way, somehow. But there are some nightmare matchups for us.
I think the only matchup that Winnipeg doesn't want is the Edmonton-Winnipeg matchup because there's a history there.
Yeah.
Or Vegas.
Yeah,
I don't
Vegas.
want Vegas either.
Yeah, it's like you're in tough in Vegas. Even if you're 20 points ahead of them, it's just
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. So on paper, it's not great our matchup, but obviously we're thrilled to be playing a wild card team, and it is awesome. Even if we do end up losing, which is going to break my heart.
I do like playing Vegas for the trip. Like it's an excuse to go to Vegas.
It's an excuse to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that about it. But
regardless, playoffs. Every game is pretty awesome. Every matchup and series, even the dud ones, turn into something great. It's just exciting regardless. But so help me.
Well, if I could throw some numbers at you to maybe ease your anxiety, you are right in that the Leafs, they are pretty good road warriors. They're 23, 13, and 3, which is probably one of the best away records. And if there's any credence that you could give against Ottawa, they're 18, 19, and 4 on the road. Yes, they beat you all the times this year, but they're not road
strong
warriors.
at home.
Yeah, but they're strong at home.
Most teams are, but they really are.
Yeah, but again, if we want to pivot to Winnipeg, this is a team that is incredibly strong at home. They've done pretty well on the road, but most of their damage is when you come into Canada Life Center, you have to face the Whiteouts.
That's why we need home field advantage, right?
Didn't you win the first 10 or 11 games this
year?
With
first 14 of 15, something like that.
And I was in the stands, boys, when the Leafs rolled into town.
Yeah, that's right.
Broke up that
first loss.
6-2, I think it was.
So it was your fault.
Fantastic.
It was your fault.
Now, I've been to a lot of arenas. I have never seen an away arena outside of Toronto with that many Leaf jerseys in it.
They are,
Yes.
I thought it might be 50-50,
The
60-40.
fan base travels well. And
75 to 80%.
Well,
Leaf
in
fans.
Toronto, the
I've
only
never
way
seen
to
anything
watch a
like it.
game is to travel.
it's to travel
You
100%.
can't watch a game in Toronto.
The ticket prices and the corporate,
They're sold out for the next 20 years.
They take away the entire lower bowl almost.
Yeah, it's about $400 a pop. Well, actually, that was about 6 years ago. I went to my last game there, and that's for one ticket, and that's going to get you gold, but not front row. Sorry, that's the middle bowl. Gold, or platinum's down by the ice, and then gold is the big. Yeah, so it's about 400. I mean, it's
Even the Leafs jersey at the Tampa Bay game.
It's nuts.
Incredible. I think they probably had 10%.
A lot of Torontonians, everywhere. But and in Ottawa, yeah, I got French fries with ketchup thrown at me in the Ottawa at the Corral Center back then. I went to a game that wasn't even the Leafs, and I wore a Leaf jersey, and was just this was a couple of years after we knocked them out 4 in a row, and I was being an ass, happily, and I deserved everything I got, but I was just.
And you're
needling
still
them.
catching strays.
I was just needling them.
You
and
were
it
the
was-
guy
it
that
was
put
great.
on Party's helmet. Remember when the window smashed?
Yeah.
The guy pulled off
Yeah.
Party's
No,
helmet.
I was being a righteous
That's probably
jackass
you.
and proud of it. And but I ate, free fries, right?
You didn't.
The ketchup wasn't ideal.
You're not supposed to
I'll
eat
give
it.
them that, but
When food lands on you, you don't eat it. That's a rule.
And yet, but I'm just that jackass. Anyway, it's gonna be great. Here's hoping. We got to get out of the first round, or heads will roll, and really we have to get out of the second round. I mean, it's no different than you guys.
Yeah.
There's gonna be problem. There's always problem, but there's gonna be big change this year if we don't get out of the first round. Roster shakeups will happen. I don't know as much about you guys. I know that apparently you can't play with Ehlers out. I don't know why not. But
why don't we talk about Winnipeg?
Let's talk. We got 6 minutes left in the first period.
Perfect. So, Winnipeg Jets, #1 team in the whole league, 110 points, 4 games left. We are taping this on April 10th. This episode will come out after April 10th, but tonight we have a big game where we are playing the Dallas Stars in Texas.
what's the separation?
So that currently it is 110.
4 points. Okay, so this is big.
4
All
points.
right.
So in theory, Winnipeg can lose tonight's
Yes.
game, and if we win the rest of our 3 games, we will still clear the division. But if Winnipeg beats Dallas tonight, all we need is 1 more point. So it's like 99% secured in Winnipeg's favor. So this is a must-win game. Both teams know this, and both teams are coming into this game from 2 different positions. The Jets are coming in from a position of strength. They just killed the St. Louis Blues 12-win-in-a-row game streak.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So they were coming off of a very strong defensive performance. Dallas, on the other hand, was coming off of their 5-2 blown lead in the final minute to Vancouver.
That was pretty wild.
I saw
That
That was wild.
amazing.
Crazy.
3
Really
goals.
was.
Thank you, Vancouver.
Yes, thank you.
I went to bed when the game was like 3-0, and I said to I said to my phone, I said, Vancouver, you are good for nothing. You are useless in helping us. I woke up the next morning. I'm like, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Pretty
You
great.
should apologize, right? Just like you had to apologize to Binnington.
I apologize to the Vancouver
were
Canucks.
you,
You helped us.
A Four Nations hater?
I was a Four Nations hater of Binnington until that gold medal game, and I said he's the greatest
Listen,
thing to come out of
I
Canada.
thought they should have put, who was it, Aiden Hill? I think
Aiden
it
Hill was the
I
backup.
thought they should have given him a go after the second or third game, just to.
After the U.S. game,
I thought maybe
was
they should have
thinking-
started him, frankly, but thank goodness they
Binnington,
didn't. And
thank
look,
goodness Binnington
Binnington
proved us
won it
wrong.
there in OT. I mean, it's game over without
That was
him,
one of the
so.
best
And he
team
carried
Canada
that
games.
momentum in and just
Yeah, exactly.
lit up
Since
Blues
since
there,
the
like-
Four Nations, the Blues have been like
got a
probably one of the
cup,
3
is-
hottest teams in the whole league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. So the Jets, they have a lot to play for. They have 4 games left. Most teams, I think, have kind of 3 to 4 games left in the season. It's going to be a pretty wild finish. And the Jets, they are in a great position where they control their entire destiny here, because if they can win the rest of these 4 games, Central, West, and President's Trophy are all theirs. So they are in full control of their own destiny.
want the presidents?
That's what I was just
Thrown
going to
in the
ask.
raft?
Do we
Well-
want the presidents?
No.
I don't.
Really?
I don't want
Like,
anything
you
to do
actually,
with it.
It's the curse. It's nice.
I know
It's nice to have the trophy, and we'll finally have a banner hanging in the arena. That's not from the WHA days, but that curse, it's too much to shake out of
I
my
don't
head.
want anything to do with that.
My
curse.
dad is the opposite. He wants because his logic is it's the Stanley Cup's the hardest trophy to win. So any other trophies that you can get, like the William Jennings, the Vezina, the President's Trophy, it's good to stack up these trophies so there's at least some accomplishments that you can look back and be proud on. I'm of the opinion of I don't want that curse. It overrides the President Trophy. I'll take the Central and the West, but I don't want the Presidents.
If Dallas doesn't catch you, is anyone else? Washington's not going to catch you guys.
Washington is currently 3 points behind,
okay,
but they have one game played less than us. So
Yes, they got a game in hand
I
there.
think they could leapfrog us,
They're
but
probably going to rest I mean, you guys might also, but you got to rest up for the playoffs, right? Ovi could
sure,
use
yeah.
a day off, I'm sure.
it would be nice if we win tonight, because again, if we win tonight, we can probably take the last game or two off, maybe play
Exactly.
Comrie, let some Manitoba Moose guys comes up.
Clinch the division. Rest your players.
Yeah, especially Hellebuck, because he's going to be
It's a great,
tested.
Yeah,
it's a great strategy, and it all happens tonight when we beat Dallas.
I got to ask, I know maybe I'm switching gears, but, I'm from Ontario, so I don't follow Winnipeg too much. What's the deal with Hellebuck in the playoffs? Because I haven't followed enough to understand
You bring up
why.
a very good
I'm
point.
gonna-
Best goal in the league, in
I'm
my
going to take
opinion.
this over.
Yeah.
What gives?
I'm going to take this over because I think the whole narrative of Winnipeg being playoff chokers, I think this is one of those reasons because Winnipeg is a smaller market. They don't get paid attention to too much. So whenever they're in the spotlight, and they've unfortunately crapped their pants the last few years, it's kind of spun this narrative that's not exactly true. And I'll kind of bring up this point of, in Hellebuck's first season as the starter, he was one of the biggest factors of them going to the conference finals. In his first year as the full-time starter, not as the backup to Pavlik. The year afterward, yes, we eliminated in the first round by the Blues. But then the year afterwards, we then swept Edmonton in the first round and made it to round 2 where we
it
got
the
swept.
Habs?
It was the Habs.
Yeah, and that's when
swept
we
us.
were up 3-1 and we blew it in 7 to the Habs. But
So
at least we won 3 games.
At least we're united in that we lost to the Habs.
Yeah, you guys were laughing and figured, it's a cakewalk to the conference finals. And
Yeah,
then
exactly,
You got
but-
pumped.
Yeah.
And you guys killed that one Hab who's never played
Jake
again.
Evans. Yeah, Jake
he's
Evans.
never played again. He's
Shifley
never-
took his head off.
He did. He got
For the record, that was a clean hit. What was Shifley supposed to do?
an unnecessarily clean hit. But anyway,
Unnecessary
moving
clean
on.
hit. Moving on.
Gorgeous hit.
But then in 2022, we missed the playoffs. That was when Paul Maurice stepped down. And then in 2023, again, I think this is where the whole first round choking label started to pop up. Because in 2023, we lost in the first round to Vegas. But we were the 8th seeded team going up against the top team in the entire conference.
They were a juggernaut.
Where we didn't have expectations per se. And then last year, okay, that's fair. We were up on Colorado. We beat them 7-0 a few games before the end of the regular season. And then we tried to run and gun with them offensive wise instead of sticking to our defensive structure that worked, and we got completely embarrassed.
I think the playoffs are a different game, and I am hoping that I'm going to be surprised because, like you say,
this
we
team
do have
will do it.
we have a bit of a record of sitting back in the playoffs.
But I think this team is the best. Even if we win the President's Trophy, this is the best team the 2.0 Jets have ever had. Better than the 2018 team that went to the conference. The power play improved a lot last year. The defense is still great. Hellebuck is probably going to win back-to-back Vezinas. Could even win the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
So I think this team is better than what they were last year. The only part about last year's team that was better than this year's was the defense was better last year. It was more of a shutdown, but we kind of gave up a little bit of that defense this year in favor of better offense and the power play, like top power play in the whole league.
Yeah, and I think our defense is simplifying. I think they're going into the more the gritty corner work style of defense and working on those
And
skills.
Hellebuck is just playing out of his literal mind.
Well, I think Hellebuck is reflecting the team in front of him, and because I think it's fair to compliment the team because the goalie and the team work hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Yeah, you every once in a while you remember Team Essenza back in the day, but I think if we manage to bring a playoff-ready team. Now, the rules change in playoffs. There's a lot more physicality in the playoffs.
Hits
the
go up.
rule book gets thrown away. Are we going to be able to adjust as well as the other team adjusts? Because when we played Colorado, they adjusted way better than we
And
did.
I think that's also coaching got in the way last year. I think
Yeah.
Rick Bowness was too stubborn and they tried to stick with what they were doing. And I think Arneal silently lost his mind a little bit because they kept doing the same thing game after game after game. And Colorado just pummeled them 6 goals a game every single time.
Can't play regular season hockey in the playoffs.
No.
It's a totally different game.
I think Arneal, one point I think actually my dad made was Arneal is not going to get out coached. The only way the Jets lose is if the other team's players just are better than our own.
I do like that we've got into the second period.
Okay, second period.
Let's start the second period on a positive spin. Scott Arneal, what do you think of his record so far?
I think
And will there be any
Rick-
trophies at the end for him?
I think he should win the Jack Adams. I
think you're absolutely right.
I'm a belief of it, but I think
Here we go.
Here we go. But the one thing
got him going.
The one thing I will end on is I think Rick Bowness walked so Arneal could run. I think Bowness, he introduced this new look for the Jets after we were done with Paul Maurice. And I think Arneal is continuing it, but he tweaked some parts about Bowness's coaching that didn't work. So again, I think Bowness walked so Arneal could run. But I still think Arneal will get the Adams.
Been saving that one.
That was a good
I said that to
like
myself.
one.
I said that to myself in the shower this morning.
Well said, sir. Well said.
That's true. That's 100% true.
Okay, let's just put an end to shower talk right now. Can we just all agree on that?
Well, we're having a rinse after this, right? Tarps off, boys.
What happens after the camera's done?
Exactly.
That's between you guys.
All right, what's on the second period docket?
Well, I still need to know what your Leafs are. What's your prediction? How far are you going to get? Is it going to be a Stanley Cup
if
final?
history has taught me anything, my friend,
Because once we get your prediction, we're going to join in with our prediction.
it's interesting that you're saying you think it's different this year. I mean, all I'm hearing is this is the year for the Jets, which is strange because it completely contradicts my feeling of this is the year for the Leafs. Two true statements that just can't both be true. Every year's the year for the Leafs. Is this the year? I suspect not. But I really suspect that just based on historicals. I will say that I do believe this is the... I wouldn't say the strongest team that we've had. I think the strongest team we have is when we crapped the bed against the Habs back in the bubble with the Canada or the All Canada division or whatever it was. I actually think that was a really, really strong team that could have gone, but obviously not. I'm not sure we have the chance to pull it out. We could make the look. We can do anything. We got to get through Florida. Okay, we're not getting through the Panthers. We can get through Tampa potentially. But it all starts in the first round with us. We have to kind of stamp our style and our playoff character because you never know what you're going to get with the Leafs. If they can come out and prove themselves and then take that momentum into a second round against Florida or Tampa, please, Tampa. They're vulnerable, and heck, we're 3-0 against Tampa this year. Yep. Doesn't mean anything come playoffs, I get that. But then there you go. Then you're in the conference finals, and you got Washington, maybe it's Carolina, something like that. Not easy. I still think the consistency's there for the Capitals, but I just don't think they're as good as their record indicates. That's me personally. And whatever team comes out of the West, I don't think the Leafs are gonna take them. Maybe Edmonton, which might seem weird because we can run and gun, right? But Draisaitl and McDavid are game changers. And yeah, we got Marner and Nylander and Matthews. It's different. They're not quite the game changers. They can't actually put the team on their back. There's flashes of it here and there, but not like McDavid or Draisaitl can. So I don't think we can beat the West if we somehow managed to get there. We need to get out of the second round, or else heads will roll.
That's a great follow-up question. What's going to happen?
Do it, and I think we have the team to do it. Will we show up and do it? Who the hell knows?
What's the reaction if the Leafs get tossed in the first?
Yeah, so the challenge is we don't have a lot of options. You can swap out your third and four line players here and there. They're interchangeable, around the league, even though there's some much better ones. But we're locked in. We got Nylander signed, no trade. Matthews signed, no trade. It's Marner who's up, right? And Johnny Tavares, who is an absolute stud this year. And even if he wasn't, I still say you want him on, obviously. I'd say about $6 million before he started turning into Superman after Four Nations. $6 million. Johnny wants to stay in Toronto. He's from Toronto. He's got 3 kids there, family, the support network. He always wanted to play here. The sheets wrapped up as a kid. He doesn't want to go anywhere. I think him giving up the captaincy, his character overall, he can stand pay decrease. He's turning 34 this year, right? So another 3-year deal will take him to 37. He's not going to get $10 million anywhere, nor would anyone pay him that. So for him to stay, and if we get him locked down for $6 million, that'd be great. I think now he'll ask for about $7 million and probably deserve it, and we should still give it. His underlying metrics are spectacular, and it's Johnny Tavares. The problem is Marner. You cannot replace Marner. You cannot go out and find a Marner. There are 31 teams in this league, other than Toronto, who would kill for Marner. And, with the no trade, we couldn't move him. He could walk for nothing. And if we can't get out of the first round, How do we not throw out the soup with the soup water and the bowl and the pot, everything? We got to make a change, and he's the only one. I can't. We also have to sign him. I'm a firm believer we have to sign Mitch and run it back, even though that's insanity. You cannot replace him. You can't.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when the whole trade saga was going on for Mikko Rantanen, I heard a rumor that were the Leafs apparently weren't the
Yes.
weren't the Leafs trying to, but they were trying to dangle Marner.
They didn't try to. They straight up would have been an awesome trade, hockey trade.
Would that influence Marner to think, well, they don't need me, why should I stay?
It wasn't. It was not a slap in the face. I think the Leafs brass leaked it to put a little pressure on. It should have never gotten out. But listen, the Avalanche called. Who knows who called, right? But they were like, hey. They were in a contract problem too. We're going to lose this guy for nothing. So what about a straight up old school hockey trade, player for player, maybe a little, it might have been some compensation on the side, but it's a player for player, superstar for superstar. And then, you both get somebody. Rantanen had some term, and we would have only traded on the agreement that we are extending him. That would have had to been part of it. And Rado too. I mean, they wouldn't trade. There would have to be an agreement that Mitchie would sign. I would have gone for it simply because that would have protected the asset that we might lose. I don't think we will. I don't think Marner will leave either. I think he wants to stay. He's a Toronto boy also. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of heat and pressure, but other than the playoffs, when they lose, he's a god. And they all are, right? It's a great market to play in. It got put on the table. Would you consider giving us Marner for Rantanen? The Leafs had to take that to Marner and say, hey, sorry, we're not going to... No offense, this is not an insult, but
it's Rantanen.
A player of this magnitude, we have to at least ask, are you willing? He said no, he has every right. I don't chirp him for that. I don't knock it. It's the middle of the season. I'm hoping it means because I want to re-sign here in Toronto and my family and my wife, and he's got married and they're having a baby and all this stuff. I don't think dangled was the right word, but was there an offer on the table for a straight up? Yes, but it never got further than the in theory offer because Mitch kiboshed it with the no trade, and so be it. That's the end of it.
That's the business side of it. Yeah.
It just, how do you roll it back? We finally got our goaltending settled down with Woll, who will be a future great goaltender, already is, and Stolars. I mean, what a gem. I don't know if you guys know anything about him. Oh, he's our backup. I think he's on his 28th win now, and he's probably going to start for us. I mean, he won a cup last year as the backup with Florida. He only played a couple playoffs games because you got Bobrovsky doing the thing. But, that pedigree's there. The guy's a mutant. He's like 6'6", the greatest guy. He's amazing. He has won the starting job as our backup, from Wolves. So between those two, we got 5 years of solid goaltending if they stay under wraps and whatnot. The D is getting much, much better, and they're very competitive now. Top shot blockers in the league, I believe. Maybe we're second. It's just everything else is tied up in the core four or whatever it is. We're skilled.
Yeah,
we're not heavy.
You don't have a lot of wiggle room, it seems, right?
We don't have any wiggle room, but you're not going to get rid of Matthews. I mean, he's a stud. Nylander, who I didn't love it when we signed him, but the guy is just an animal. He's one of the top wingers in the league. I watch him, it's like, damn, this guy, okay, that's who you want as your two-line winger. Johnny Tavares, we've already talked about him, and we're not going to if we can lock him down for $6 or $7 million, scoring 40 goals, it won't keep up, but his face-offs and the calmness in the dressing room. And then you got Marner, same thing. You can't get rid of him. Can't replace him. Can't get rid of him. He's going to be worth every overpaid penny that he asks for, which will be, 12 and a half, and for a year he'll be the highest paid Leaf. And he should be for what he does. And around the league, people will kill. So we're stuck running it back.
It's going to be some expensive tears when you get tossed in the first round.
I don't see how we can. I don't see how.
That's a lot of tough talk. Don't start jinxing it, okay?
Leadership and Shanahan and is it Petty?
All right.
I don't know.
Let's sum this up with Stanley Cup final. Who's it against? Who's there?
I should have thought of that before I came in here, eh?
Well, we can bring up the list again.
Obviously, it's going to be Leafs versus Jets. But let's say something crazy happens. Yeah. Let's say something crazy happens and they don't make it through. All right? I mean, who knows, right? I still think Vegas is a team to go through. I know they're not quite what they were, but they're hungry, they're tough, they're heavy. I still think Vegas is going to make it through. I don't think the Oilers will. I have a feeling they're not getting out of the second round for some reason. I don't think they have the goaltending or just the overall stability, but they got the two best players. So I'm going to pick Vegas coming out again. And out of the East, It's Florida. I mean, Florida's. We're not taking.
So 2023 rematch.
Actually, is it? I didn't know that. I'm glad I didn't know that because that might have influenced. I think it. I guess I think it will be. I think Florida's frankly repeating. I think they will if Tkachuk comes back healthy. But they've been sitting him out for. He will. Ekman or not. Who's the guy that got pumped for steroids? Ekman. I say Ekman Larson. He's a Leaf.
I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking.
Aaron Ekblad.
There you go.
Ekblad, yeah. So he's out on PED, a little sketchy. So I don't like it, but he comes back, yeah. And their goaltending, I think they'll win. I think Vegas will make it through this year. I think they were not to get back to the finals, and
Florida lost somebody.
Well, Tkachuk, but they didn't lose him.
Oh, somebody for in illicit substances or something. I forget.
Well,
or no, maybe it was a family issue. I can't remember who Florida lost.
I don't know. Somebody
I'll have to
sat
look
out
that
the
up.
other night for a personal family matters.
Yeah, maybe
or no, maybe
that's
that was
the one I
Tampa
was
last
thinking
night.
of.
I think it was it Gensel? No, he played. Anyway, but it was with Ekblad. I mean, allegedly, but it was an accidental tainted, supplement something.
Okay,
They
one of
don't
those.
think he was juicing.
Accidentally.
Sure, but I'm never going to question that guy's character. I don't know him personally, but
So you got Vegas,
seems
Florida.
like a good egg. I got Vegas, Florida again. Yeah.
Well,
What about you guys?
Well, I don't know why you ditch your own team like that. It's definitely Jets versus. Well, yeah, you might be right. It might not be Toronto, but
Okay, but let's quickly.
I would pick Jets versus Washington in the final.
I think a
Let's
Jets.
really sorry to really
No, it's
way to go out on a limb.
I
on
know,
that one.
I know,
Hey,
I know,
how
I
about
know.
the
I
2-1
really
seeds?
stretched it.
Awesome.
But I would prefer to see a Jets Leafs final.
I was
going
gonna
to
say a Jets Leafs final would be Gary Bettman's worst nightmare.
I think you're exactly right.
Is that such a bad thing?
Yeah, because he doesn't like Canada.
Well, I mean, for us, if it's his, we don't care. Or I know you guys.
Well, this
don't.
is our way to
I'm
get
a
back
little
at Gary
indifferent.
Bettman by having Winnipeg Leafs in the final.
I
How
think
do you like us now?
Having the Leafs there will help temper that because we do have a
That's true.
North
You do have a
American
mark,
audience.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's like I watch a lot of World Series when the Yankees are in it. I hate the Yankees. I just want to see them lose. It's too much fun, right? People want to see the Leafs lose if you're not from Toronto. So that's going to bring more eyeballs, the history, the culture of it. People know the Leafs everywhere. I wouldn't say the Jets will bring in a ton of eyeballs. You've got, Manitoba, well, all Canada, but
Well, let's
nobody cares about that.
hypothetical Jets, Senators, Stanley Cup final. What happens to the league? Can it survive?
That's
It
not
folds.
Would it fold? That's a great
good. Awesome
question.
for Canada, but
Do they have a financial plan for Winnipeg, Ottawa in the final?
Imagine
or
two smaller market teams. Like just
Yeah.
the storyline. Like for actual hockey fans, it would be amazing.
It would be great.
for
Oh,
all
that'd be
the
awesome.
executives, for all the owners, for all the billionaires. They are probably like pissing their
look,
pants.
half
Like
the teams, St. Louis, this is how they won the Cup back in 2019, I think it was, and Berube, they were out of the playoffs in early February. Anyway, they ran the table and they won. Who the hell wants to see St. Louis in the playoffs or the Minnesota Wild? Or, we just don't, right? But it can happen. It's going to happen 1 year, small market. Whatever. The NHL is going to be fine. If it happened 2 years in a row, I think
They
that
would
whole
be-
unwritten,
they-
no more Canadian teams in the finals, refs.
yeah,
make
they
it
would
happen.
start rigging stuff.
That would be a problem, but
I would
it's a
like to
problem
see
for revenue,
Winnipeg
but
in the final.
It's going to happen.
I would like to see Winnipeg in the final just so we don't have to fight over how we're going to watch the game. I would like you to tell me what you go through in order to watch your Leafs play in Winnipeg. Like not live, but on TV.
No, but
What's
live too. No, it's. I
because
can't. No, I
Jets
can't.
fans,
I
we
can't.
have 3 networks now.
I got the Sportsnet pass, and I
Yeah.
can watch my Leaf games every game.
Every
I
game.
cannot watch a Jets game due to regional blackouts. So when the Leafs came, I went to one game. Or sorry, was it this year? Maybe it was last year's game. I went to win. I'm great. Or I didn't go to the game. And I'm like, great. I'll just watch it. And I'm like, blackout.
Yeah.
What the? What
So
is
this is a great
Someone's
point
streaming
for
and-
Mr. Bettman. Why does Winnipeg have to roll a roulette wheel between 3 different
Well,
networks?
is that
to
not
watch a
happening
game?
in other markets?
That's why I'm asking you. Do you have to switch networks every time you watch a game?
No, look, when I'm in, I lived in Toronto for years, and I've had Sportsnet for the last decade or whatever. No, I watch my Leaf games. I don't really understand what
It's
you're.
because Sportsnet broadcasts all the Leaf games, but they don't broadcast all the Jets games. So the games that they don't broadcast, TSN and Prime pick them up.
But you can get those games?
we have to find out which network is running our game, and it's either TSN,
And you've
Sportsnet,
got multiple
or Prime.
streaming ones.
And then you have to connect and put up with their commentators. How would you like it if they took away your commentators?
I love TSN's fine. I grew up. I'm old school. O-Dog. I mean, it's just great. Cheryl Pounder, I went to school with, actually. I don't know if, so she's actually a friend of mine. But man, those Prime.
Yeah. You like the Prime?
No.
No, I'm not a fan.
And their halftime shows, they're ghetto.
They're intermission
I
shows,
understand they're little kid and they're building up and they don't have a whole production team, but I'm just like, it's Adnan Virk and one of the PWHL ladies. And they're just not analysts, they're talking really high level. I don't like it. And the announcers sound American. I don't like it.
And they don't have the local flavor that TSN
they don't.
does.
I wouldn't
and I don't know
expect
about
them to.
TSN with the Leafs. I imagine it's a fairly personal relationship.
Extremely.
But our TSN relationship with the Jets is by far the go-to. That's what the audience wants.
Yeah, like they're the most pro-Jet, like Dan Robinson and Kevin Sawyer.
Exactly.
They know the team inside and out. They're like practically friends with the whole roster.
Yeah, but then Sportsnet sends a guy that's never been to a Jets game in his life
I hate
to
Sportsnet.
broadcast, to commentate.
I hate Sportsnet's coverage of Winnipeg specifically.
Winnipeg, yes.
I don't know what they do for the Leafs, but
They sent Kyle Bukauskas out when I was there. He was standing like 10 feet away from me. I'm like, hey, Kyle. He looked up. His hair didn't move.
nice.
Anyway. So only when I try to watch a Toronto Leafs game in Winnipeg and I can't watch it. I don't understand blackouts. No, I do, but to me it's old school.
Yep.
We didn't have the television, the media,
Technology
the TV. Yeah,
is not
and
compatible.
okay, we want to encourage people going to the game. The games are sold out, man. Like why? And I mean, are Jets games sold out? I think they are.
Mostly.
I mean, the Leafs are
Lately,
close to
yeah.
sold out for the next 100 years, but like it's not encouraging anybody. And even if I can't afford it anyway, it's not an issue in today's day and age. So to me, it's just a piss off. It's a needle, and I'm just like, why?
Yep.
Why?
Money.
Why?
Gotta be the money. Well,
what's the
CBC
point?
holds all the cards, right? They're the ones or Rogers, I guess, technically holds the cards. But CBC bought the rights from Rogers, and then now they're selling it away to
I
get their
think
money
Apple aren't they? Isn't
Apple
Apple going to
TV
start
is
doing
trying
2
to
games,
get in,
like
yeah.
2 games a year, like Prime did? And I have Prime, but if I hadn't, I would have been. They did this years ago back in Toronto with Leafs TV. 2 games this year are going to be on Leafs TV. I ordered Leafs TV for a whole goddamn year just to watch 2 games, like a Tuesday night in, this was probably Hartford back then, and a Thursday night in Atlanta. It was just so stupid. And Apple TV I hear is getting in, and so there's going to be 2 games next year that I already have.
But at least you might get to switch. Winnipeg doesn't have a switch. Only one network is allowed to broadcast the game, so you lose
I had
your
no
commentators
idea.
every
I'm not
time.
watching Jets, and I don't really care about. It's on TSN. It's on Prime.
I think
Whatever.
it's funny that you wouldn't put up with it, but we are forced to put up with it.
Yeah, we're forced to put up with it.
Didn't
Thankfully,
even know you had to.
Thankfully, it's one of those things where TSN I think has the majority of all the games. So like it's if you're gonna look at all the 3 options, because if all the games were split equally, like Prime, Sportsnet, and TSN got an equal amount, that would be frustrating because then you have to buy all 3. If you buy TSN, I think you're getting a majority.
You get the best deal. Yeah,
you get the best value. But to wrap up the second period really quickly, so just to really quickly recap our cup predictions, you said
I'm going with Vegas Panthers again. I'm going
Vegas
rematch.
Panthers. You said
I'm going easy. Washington, Winnipeg. No fun with me. Sorry.
Well, what?
I like
You're
your
on there, Skippy. What do you got?
Winnipeg.
Okay,
Ottawa.
but really? Would you?
I want the league to fall apart. I want
Sure, you want, but that's not what you actually
Okay,
think is going to happen.
I genuinely think it'll probably actually be Winnipeg, Washington as well, provided someone craps the bed.
That's great, guys.
Winnipeg Jets fans.
Glad
we
I
got
can't-
nothing,
yeah,
eh?
Super.
I
All
know.
right.
Okay,
Great.
sorry.
Way to mix it up.
You showed us up.
A non-Winnipeg final, I think, would be Colorado and Carolina.
Carolina's doing
I mean, they're
really good
due,
things. Yeah.
but man, that'd be boring.
I thought
wouldn't it?
Well, not with Ron.
I was going with LA.
The Cans,
If I wasn't
they're
going
just-
Winnipeg, I was
LA
gonna
is
pick
boring.
LA.
They're not going to.
Oh God, LA.
Yeah, they're having a good.
Yeah,
Boring defense, and their home record merchants.
They are, but
seriously,
you
look
can wear them down. Stick to
Look
the game
at their
plan.
home record compared to their away record. If
You
they're not at Staples Center, they
wear
are
them
god
down.
awful.
All I'm saying is playoffs change
It does.
everything.
It does change a
And you
lot.
get those
And
Blues teams
what
that go.
I watched LA and Edmonton play, and that's where.
Or look at the Habs that year. They went on their run and they just knocked
that was-
us and
that
you.
was
And
amazing.
next thing you know, the Habs now they got pumped in the finals. I think they did get swept, didn't they? But regardless, Yeah, Ottawa's not going on.
Yeah.
Carolina, until they punch through, they're not going either. It's just like the Leafs. Like, yeah, I think they can do it. I think they'll do it. I don't, because they haven't. And until they do, they're not gonna.
Holy crap. All right, we're in the third period
Okay,
now.
third period.
Wow, this is where it gets real.
Oh, well, it's the third period. You gotta batten down the hatches, boys. Right?
All right. What was our third period
Oh,
topic?
I remember.
I don't remember.
do you?
We got it written down somewhere here.
This is all you guys are here for. You've been looking forward to this.
This is one I've been looking forward to for about 40 minutes. Why Gary Bettman is a bad commissioner of the NHL.
Here we go.
Go.
It's getting real.
Why don't we just go through the bullet points and then just talk about them?
Let's talk about the bullet points.
Number one. Now, I get it. It's a private business. They have the right to make money. However, I think now here's the thing. Now there's the debate of how much control does Bettman truly have? The owners all have they have the true control. Bettman is just the figurehead on top. So how much blame can you divert? I don't care. Number one, they prioritize money over the game of hockey.
I would say it's worse. They're actively trying to destroy the Canadian market, and they're unknowingly doing it because their focus is chasing the American market. Because they don't have market penetration in the U.S., but they already do have market penetration in Canada. So there's not a lot of reward for.
But there's not a lot of growth here. If you want to grow the game, it has to come from the States or somewhere else.
Well, that's right. I mean, we're a
not
mature
gonna come from
market.
Canada,
it can't
really.
grow in Canada. We're already.
It is about money at the end of the day. And the
Yeah.
money, the TV deals, it brings in a heck of a lot of benefits for everybody.
My
and
only
everything.
point is, I don't mind you promoting the game in the U.S., but it shouldn't be at the expense of Canada. And the multiple television network deal, the money deal that's putting Winnipeg fans out on the street, basically. If you don't have Prime and Sportsnet, you're not watching hockey. And that is not fair to a Winnipeg Jets fan. And it's all about money. And it goes back to your point that Bettman is selling Canadian markets out.
And it doesn't matter if it's his decision or not. He's overseeing this.
He signed it.
He signed it.
He signed it.
He signed it. He's overseeing it.
Yeah.
So we kind of just talked about it, but the regional blackouts.
Yeah, we could beat
This,
it to
I
death,
think,
I
is
know.
one of the biggest
I didn't know
scars.
this was a thing. I had no idea. That sucks.
We were trying to educate
Now,
on this show.
Now, I'm gonna say,
Oh, he's going in close.
I am not going to publicly endorse or condemn this, but sail the seven seas like a pirate and download a VPN. You'll thank me later.
Yarr.
Yar, matey, you sail the seven seas to see the NHL broadcast.
There's ways around this.
I don't endorse it. Wink, wink.
You can VPN. I have tried them. It's hit and miss. I find that's maybe
yeah.
different.
The best
today.
ones are the ones that you have to pay for. Those
Yes, that's
free
right.
VPNs.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Some good Russian streaming sites out there, free. Don't worry about it. They mostly work.
Sorry. Well, whatever. Box.
Yeah, as long as the volume's up.
Yeah, I guess
figure it
as
out.
long as they hear us.
I just think blackouts are archaic with the technology mediums we have and the availability and whatnot. And I just now maybe in markets that aren't selling out, I still think it's pretty old school. But I see zero value in arenas that are selling out. What's the point? You're not encouraging people to go buy a ticket.
You don't
rather
need a
than watch it on
blackout
TV.
if you're sold out.
I don't get it these days.
No blackouts if you're sold out. That's a good motto.
Yeah, maybe it's a rolling, like you unlock, game sells out, great, you unlock the game.
Unlock the game,
You know,
exactly.
and if the arena's half sold, great, okay, at least there's a reason.
My constructive tip would be to let Sportsnet and let Prime and let TSN all offer their commentations. Who cares who broadcasts the video? But let us be able to choose which commentators we want. Just like when you select a home feed or an away feed when you're watching
Yeah,
games.
but then you got three teams that got to comment the game, and you're paying.
But Sportsnet's paying these people. TSN's paying these people. That's what I'm saying. If you want to pay a commentator to commentate a game, that's great. I as a viewer will choose which commentator I want.
Sure, but when Sportsnet pays, when TSN's broadcasting the game and their panel's going to do the game, Sportsnet doesn't. I mean, they got an in-between period panel.
Now
but
they
they're
have
not-
exclusive deals. What I'm saying is scrap the exclusive deals
Okay.
and let everybody compete. would be the best way forward for a small market blackout problem.
Yeah, but you're paying for it. I mean,
Well, that's
exclusivity is everything in life.
That's
Forget
up to
just
Sportsnet and Prime
yeah.
whether they want to pay their
But
people.
Prime can suck it. I mean, let's get rid of Prime. And listen, they're making a big play, and Rogers just signed.
Well, have you seen Prime's numbers? They're not going anywhere. That's the problem.
Well, didn't Rogers just re-up for 8 or 12 years?
That is news to me.
No, it was. Wasn't it last week? Yeah, they signed like a 10-year, like bazillion-dollar deal to.
It doesn't surprise me.
No, I thought it was look it up
Because
there.
then Rogers sells it to Sportsnet and TSN and Prime, but they sell exclusive
Yeah, they just sell little pieces.
broadcasting rights.
I didn't want
saying-
Prime to take the whole thing. There
A
it
week
is.
ago,
Yeah,
the
12 years,
$11 billion deal announced
hear about
today
this?
to give Rogers the right to broadcast hockey games across the country till 2037-38.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm pretty pleased because Prime's out of it, and I just figured with the wackadoe they had, I'm like, Prime's
Yeah, but
going to win
Rogers
it.
can sell that to
Yeah,
Prime.
I understand that, but they're.
In fact, that's
Hopefully
what
they,
Rogers
sell a
is
couple
doing
games.
right now with Jets games. Is they're selling them to Prime, and well, obviously you don't like it. We don't like it. I don't think anybody likes it, but it's their Betsman chasing the money and doesn't give a crap about us.
Yeah, but can you really blame? I mean, yes, we can. We can whinge as hockey fans and stuff, but it's still a business, and the TV deals runs everything, and that's how you get the salary cap going up and more marketing and whatnot. I mean, they're always gonna.
Well, we could get the calculators out and figure out what kind of money we'd get selling non-exclusive broadcasting rights to 3 different networks.
I hear you, and I'd be a lot more if this was affecting me. So let's be clear.
Okay.
I'm good. Though,
Must be
boys.
nice to be a Toronto fan.
We are the center of the earth or the world.
Well, you get all the reffing calls.
Canada, I should say. Allegedly.
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 Yeah, ask Sutherland who gets the reffing calls.
Moving on.
Yeah.
The ice is slippy, man.
Yeah.
He slipped.
Oh, sorry, Toronto. I'll just get that puck for you. Okay.
just,
there you go.
Beauty pickup.
Go win the
though.
game now.
That wrister.
Yeah.
Boom. Hey, man. We've been on the wrong side of Old Lady Luck several times this year, as has everyone. That was an unfortunate event.
Yeah, well,
That
watch some,
happened to
watch
turn
some
out
Jets
positively.
games once in a while,
The
and then we'll
officiating
talk.
this year has been bad across the league.
It's inconsistent.
Inconsistent, it's been bad.
Any
horrible.
sport. I mean, it's really.
You know
part
what's
of the
bad when the
pace.
commentators mention that
Yeah, when the
that's
commentators pointed
exactly
out-
what they didn't call 2 games ago. And
It
now
is.
they're
That's always
calling.
been there, though. But now with the frame by frame and the slow mo, I mean, the armchair quarterbacks, of which I'm leading the charge half the time, but it's not fair, man. These guys have a fraction of a second, and we're dissecting something. Oh, it's so obvious. He didn't do this. What do you know? Oh. And it happened in a nanosecond, man. And I've watched it 8 times in slow mo from 14 different angles.
So you're saying if we take the 2 referees off the ice and put 1 referee in front of a big screen control room at the arena,
wouldn't that be
he'd do a
something?
better job than the 2 refs
Wouldn't
on the
that be
ice,
something?
and then the league would save a couple of bucks? I
about
think you're onto something there,
robotic,
Mr. Toronto
refs
Maple
there,
Leaf
you know?
fan.
Yeah.
Soon enough. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of time. I want to move. Now, this is one of the biggest crux of my point, along with the blackouts. I'm going to kind of pair these next 2 together. They are the most hostile league towards their labor force and to smaller markets. The 2 big case in points. Number 1, the league has presided under Bettman 3 lockouts. 94-95, half the season. 04-05, no season. And 2012-2013, half the season. And the smaller market, and this is something that I'm going to rant about if you'll allow me. So I put the Jets attendance struggles. So in the time that we are in 2024, we are living in a time where we are outside of hockey. Cost of living is up. Entertainment is unfortunately to take a hit. And of course, a couple of years emerging out of COVID. The Jets attendance numbers have gone down a little bit. They went from being, sold out for almost like a decade straight, 15,000. Now they're getting some games where it's, 12, maybe 13,000.
Yeah,
up to 14.
ever since they got rid of that Bufflin guy, I noticed
I know.
their attendance
Buff,
numbers.
I hope
are-
you're having
Buff.
fun. I hope you're having fun fishing in some random pond in Minnesota, but we'd love if you come back. Anyway, but what really ticked me off, especially when it was coming from Bettman too. The second the Jets had a little bit of down attendance for some justifiable reasons, you were seeing it across the league. Winnipeg, of course, being a smaller market, was being a target for this. But the second the Jets had some down attendance, automatically we needed to start hitting the alarm bell and starting the relocation rumors. This isn't sustainable. Meanwhile, the Arizona Coyotes were able to get away with losing money and going bankrupt for nearly 30 goddamn years, and Bettman said, that's fine. Do what you want. All the teams will pay your guys' salary. The Jets have a bit of slight attendance, one of the most passionate fan bases in the whole league. We need to start having a conversation about relocation. F off, Bettman. I hate you.
And he can't even name a team. Like, how hard is
What's
it
that?
to name a team?
What are you talking about?
The Utah Hockey Club.
Oh, yeah. It's coming.
How hard is it to name a team?
Actually, is it coming? Like, are they
They'll have
gonna,
a name.
They're going to get one?
They'll have a name by next season.
We think. We're pretty sure.
We're pretty sure. Name and logo.
Utah Utes.
It's a definite maybe.
Hey, look, the Jets, they were announced in May 2011, and they had a name, a jersey, and a logo by October. What's Utah's excuse?
It's true, actually.
And well, that whole moving team was a fiasco right up to the very end. Are we going to save them? Are we not going to save them?
Yeah. Well, it happened the year before, too. Arizona nearly moved the year before, and the Jets were in, I think it was New York, and they nearly nabbed the Coyotes back the year prior. But then that didn't work out, unfortunately. Yeah. But then, thankfully...
So why can't Bettman run a tight ship? That's a great question.
But let's talk about this. The lockouts and the hostility towards the smaller markets.
What's the population of Winnipeg?
About 800,000.
And I mean, what was it 10 years ago?
600.
Okay, so like
no, more, I think it's changed about 50,000.
Is it growing?
Yeah,
I don't know much about.
It's a pretty fast-growing city. I'll pull up.
It's just you need.
When I was a kid, it was 600,000. Now it's 800,000. You do the math.
It's not a lot compared to I don't know. Let's say Toronto and the group.
The center of the universe.
Listen, I don't know if it's becoming that clear, but I don't have quite the hate on for Bettman that you two do.
Well, of course you don't. You're in Toronto. He loves Toronto.
There has to be. It's busy. There has to be growth, and there has to be.
So in
population.
In 1971, they had 246,000. In 1981, they had 564,000. They hit 600,000 by the early 90s, and they've gone up and up and up, and now they're at seven.
You're less than 100 grand over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
Toronto added just under 200,000 last year, which is nuts.
Well, 5 million.
200,000
is
you know,
nothing.
the market is there. There's always people to buy those tickets and whatnot. You better start promoting Winnipeg. Get some people moving out here. No, I agree. It's
What, we should
disappointing.
start a TV show? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think after bringing them back with the passionate fan base and you guys just selling out. I mean, it was awesome when you guys came back. To then start dangling that again, it was like, all right, we've been there, done that.
The first game the Jets played, Jets 2.0, the fans were crying in the audience.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. I was watching it, man.
Well, and the last game that the Jets played before they left for Arizona, it was like it was honestly like the heart kind of got ripped out of the city. Like people were kind of like wandering around like zombies, like going, "What now?"
The NHL wanted. They tried to second franchise in Toronto. This was just a few years ago.
Really?
The Leafs kiboshed it. The Leafs have veto power over any, and
it's unfortunate because financially,
How big of an area?
because financially it would make sense and it could happen.
Oh God, yeah, just north of the city, yeah, absolutely. Could have
Kingston
second team,
Rockets.
Hamilton, whatever. But it encroaches on there, and that's part of their revenue, and then people are going to be buying Hamilton jerseys.
As if you guys don't make over $1 billion.
We're not talking about
Thunder Bay's got to be far enough away. They can do something. Come on.
Thunder Bay, the Sioux.
Sudbury.
Yeah, Quebec's a heartbreaker as well. What do you got? Calgary and Edmonton on this list. What's going on
In the late '90s? They almost moved.
Back then,
they almost suffered the same fate as Winnipeg, and Bettman allowed this. Like he continued to like play the allower, and he let nearly four Canadian teams go in the span of a decade.
He hates Canada. I mean, the writing is on the wall.
Like they're dangling bags of money in front of you. You got U.S. investors and bazillionaires down, and hey, I'll give you $2 billion or $3 billion. Like they can't turn it down.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's still business. You're right though with the Arizona. I don't know why that went on so long. I could have cared less about the nuances.
They went bankrupt. If the Jets went bankrupt, they'd be out next week.
And then they were playing in what was it? Amalie Arena? Oh no, that's Tampa. The college.
The University of Arizona.
Great environment.
5,000.
Yeah, like it was. You could see the roof at the end and where they were, and I'm like, this feels like I'm in university at a game. It was rocking though. But
did you see the arena where the goalie had a direct line to the sun? They had left a window open, and the sun lined up perfectly, and the goalie had this triangle of sunshine.
The camera's like just 10 feet off the ice. All the angles are wrong. Like, where are we? Is this midget or something? But I don't know why it went on that long. Probably because look, Arizona's a heavy market. I mean, if they can crack into that,
but they never
that's where
did.
Austin Matthews came out of. They never did. The arena kiboshed it. I think. Well, no, they had attendance problems. Yeah, sure they did. It is the desert and all. So yeah, disappointing that he kept it alive for that long. I don't know enough about it to really.
Right.
There's so much going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, money does talk, and obviously it made a lot more financial sense to move him out of there. Utah ponied up the dough. Yeah, basically is what it is.
And I'm happy that they got a team because they were a hockey market. Like, and that's another thing. The Southern expansion, like. It ticks me off that Vegas worked. They worked because they were.
It has to work. They got the expansion rules were different. They did extremely well. Good job of poaching players that were
and they've had
protected.
Immense success right out of the gate. That's why everyone hates them.
Well, it's Vegas. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to play in Vegas? They set the mold.
It's kind of awesome. And look, if Arizona had been successful, you give them 5 years to just poop the bed every night. But then you gotta get over that hump. 10 years, you really gotta go over that hump. By 15, 20, I'm like, did anyone care outside of Arizona care? Like, these guys are just a guard like Utah. I don't care about Utah right now. But in a year or two, I care more about the Kraken. They made the playoffs. I still don't care much.
That's
look at these
that's
guys.
the thing. I think like Utah and especially Seattle, those were hockey markets. So when the NHL announced it, like the expansion and the relocation, like that makes sense. But 100%.
Growing it too, you got to go where the game isn't, so to speak, right?
No.
Or at least try.
There's a lot of Canadians in Arizona during the winter.
Why does it work in Arizona, or didn't work in Arizona, but took off in Tampa, Florida? Where does Florida play out of, by the way?
I don't know.
It's not Miami, is it?
A distant suburb of Miami. You should
Miami.
look at their arena. It's like right at the end of the. It's like how like the Ottawa Senators. Their arena is the last thing that you see before you're down to Trans Canada.
Yeah.
I've passed by it. It's literally like
it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in
Ottawa
Canada.
suburbs arena.
45 minutes.
Wilderness
outside of Toronto. Outside Ottawa. It's weird.
It's the last thing you see before you
and there's
leave.
nothing there. Well, there is now actually. Canada's built up.
Oh, they built
just
it up?
because.
Okay.
Well, it's just suburbs. It's just
right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was farmland there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, why doesn't it work in Arizona? Why do they have attendance problems in Tampa and Florida? Is it because of the success?
That's what I lean to. Having good ownership and marketing the team is one thing, but I think having success works. And I think that's one of the reasons why Vegas worked so well. They've missed the playoffs once in their entire existence.
So far,
yeah. That's not saying too much, given that it's been 5 years, but fair enough. Maybe it's 5 or 6.
More than that.
Has it been? It's not 10 years, is it?
It'll be 8 years in the fall.
What I'm super curious about, and I said this from almost day one, is let's see what happens. Well, after they went to the Cup Finals that year, in their first year. After that, I said, awesome, and these guys will carry. Let's see what happens 10 years from now, when they're in rebuild mode.
I can't wait to see them go like 12 and 53.
I'm just curious if they'll, because it is Vegas 2 destination. It is, it's rocking in there.
Destination town.
They're giving away tickets and stuff, but you still need a loyal fan base, which they've probably curated by now, maybe, but it's winning. They're winning enough.
I think their loyal fan base flies in every weekend.
Who knows?
And flies out Monday morning.
But when they are just useless to watch, I'm like, are people still going to be going? The out-of-towners will go, the comps from the casinos, any Canadians flying in, we'll want to go, but... Yeah. Are people going to be driving in a half hour from Vegas to go see the team? They know we're going to lose. So that'll be interesting.
I hate to cut you off, but we've been blabbling for so long. We're out of time.
It happens to the worst of us.
The third period's over. The game is over.
Fourth period begins.
Overtime. Well, we're in overtime right now. Well, I think we talked about a lot. We talked about the season that was, the playoffs to come, Gary Bettman, blackouts, the Coyotes.
We griped about our blackouts. Oh, whatever.
I say let's take time to mutually plug our teams, just not Toronto.
It's going to be great. This is the year. Every year.
We wish the best of luck to the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs.
Canadian market.
And I think it would be really awesome if we got an all-Canadian Cup.
I love it.
The whole country would love it.
After Four Nations, then
after the Four Nations,
Toronto Jets.
Let's
Toronto,
spite
any Canadian team.
Literally, just an all-Canadian final. It would spite Gary Bettman, and a Canadian team would bring the cup back north of the border. Which
the Habbies,
is
Ottawa.
It's a win-win in our book.
It's going to be fantastic. I'd be scared to play you guys. No, I don't want to play you in the playoffs.
Same.
I know we'd beat you, but I still don't want to.
Well, you heard it here first. Winnipeg, Toronto in the Stanley Cup final.
Book it.
Get your tickets now.
Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Roundtable Battlefield. Thank you, Craig, for taking the time to talk about the Leafs. Very knowledgeable about hockey.
Happy to don the old blue and white.
I love the radio voice too.
I was in radio for years.
I love it.
It shows. There you
I
go.
got a face for radio.
And from Kevin, Craig, and Colin, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.